In today's coffee talk, we're going to be talking about the elephant in the room. Welcome to Urban Prepping with Pam. I'm Pam. So I'm going to fill these jars. Water for projects like this, so I didn't use tap water. But today I'm going to talk about something that I don't see anybody talking about really, but it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I'm calling it the elephant in the room because people who are preppers, people who are homesteaders just don't seem to mention it. And at first I thought, well, maybe it's just me, but I know it can't possibly just be me. So before I say what the elephant in the room is, let me give a little background. I'm in my second marriage, and I got married at the age of 52, my second marriage. So my first marriage, I was married for 30 years. And I'm 64 years old, and I can honestly say, until I met my current husband, I never really made rice. I didn't know how to make rice. When I did make rice, it was always nasty. My mother never really made rice. I didn't grow up eating rice. I did not grow up eating beans. In my first marriage, I never made beans. And then I met my current husband, who is Puerto Rican. All of a sudden, he had to have rice at almost every meal. And he would be telling me, well, make some beans to go with the rice. And I'm like, I don't know how to make beans. What kind of beans? Like green beans? I don't know what you're talking about. The elephant in the room is beans and rice. And when I started prepping, which was about 13 years ago. Now, I've been canning and preparing foods and dehydrating for many years, close to 40 years. But when I really started seriously thinking about having food stored away in case of an emergency, preppers always say rice and beans. And my thought was, ew. Rice and beans, ew. That sounds disgusting. Beans, ew. It wasn't until I met my current husband, and he had to teach me how to make rice and beans, that I realized that this is really a delicious meal if you know what you're doing with it. But I didn't know what I was doing with it. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because you will always hear preppers say, if you want to get started, and I'm going to tell you this because I seriously believe this, everybody needs to have food stored away for an emergency. Not everybody knows how to can. That's why I'm making this series of videos. I'm hoping to introduce new people to the fun, because I enjoy it, but also the need to know how to preserve your foods in different ways. But I'm going to suggest to everybody that's watching that we all need to have a supply of beans in rice. It's the easiest thing you can do. It doesn't require any canning. All it requires is knowing how to store it for long term, because beans and rice are already dry. They're already ready to go. They already have the ability to last a long time. And rice and beans contain a complete protein. So if there were an emergency, you could live on rice and beans indefinitely. Now, it would be nice to have other foods, but let's face it. I mean, if you're in an emergency situation and you just need food, rice and beans will keep you alive. It's a complete protein. It's got everything, all the amino acids that your body needs to function. And there are cultures that live on rice and beans. You and I know that, but that's not our culture. And it's not my culture. You know, my background is Irish American. We grew up on potatoes. Nothing wrong with potatoes. You can dehydrate and store potatoes. That's not a problem. But the thing is, if you really want to start prepping, and you really need to have a variety of foods, but you really need to have rice and beans. And I'm calling it the elephant in the room, because I know a lot of you out there are thinking, ew, I don't like rice and beans. And it's because we don't know how to make rice and beans. And I didn't even realize that until I met my current husband. And you know, let's just say it was humbling to have a man teach me how to make food. But we got to get to the place where we will allow that. And I am so glad that he taught me, because, you know, now I make it all the time and we enjoy it. I serve it to my grandchildren. I have a granddaughter that her request when she comes to see me is she wants me to make rice and beans. She loves it. She isn't going to get it at home because my daughter's not going to make it for her. And I tell my children, he tells his children, we've been telling our children, start storing food for an emergency. Okay, this is what we hear. Sure, Mom, okay. Oh, Mom, you know, you always think there's a conspiracy theory around every corner. All right, okay, you know, it's still a smart thing to do. Our ancestors did it. And then this COVID thing happened. And I called my kids. I think I mentioned this in another video. I called my kids and said, I don't think you're going to be making fun of us preppers anymore, are you? And we heard comments from our children about, yeah, you know, we should have listened. You know, you were telling us. Yeah, we were telling you. We didn't know what the emergency was. We just wanted to be prepared if there was an emergency. Now, you know, God willing, there's not going to be an emergency. And we're okay with that. Thank you, Lord. You know, we'll take the blessing. We don't want there to be an emergency. And so what we do is we do eat the food that we have stored, but we have enough put away. Our goal is to have a year's worth of food put away. And so when we grow food and I can food, I try to do it to get us through for a whole year. But we eat off of all of those things that we have stored. It's just that as we eat it, we replace it. And so we rotate our food. And so, yeah, we're enjoying it, but we also have it stored. So it's not like it's just, you don't process food and then just have it sit on a shelf. That's not the purpose. And I made that mistake years ago. You know, oh, don't touch the food. Don't tell, you know, I did that in case of emergency. Well, you know, that's not very practical. And then, you know, canned food only lasts so long. So, you know, you're probably safely, your food will last maybe 2 to 3 years. I mean, it's not going to last forever. Now, dehydrated food will last longer, yeah, but, you know, it breaks down. So anyway, the elephant in the room is rice and beans. And so I think it's important that we all learn how to make them properly. Because I'm telling you, I've got an uneasy feeling, even though things are starting to open up now. I live in Indiana. We probably were one of the more liberal states as far as giving us the liberty to go to work and do the things that we wanted, that we had to do, you know, but a lot was still shut down. And I'll tell you, supply chains were broken down. I saw that when I went to the stores. But with all the unrest that we're seeing right now, even though things are starting to open up, now we're seeing so much unrest, and you can't turn on the TV and not see it. I have an uneasy feeling. I'm not sure that this is over with. I'm going to be quite honest with you, and it's not like I think that there's a conspiracy theory around every corner. Of course not. But I mean, come on, we all know that there's something going on around here, that with all of the anarchy and the unrest. I just don't have a great feeling about it, and I'm suggesting, I honestly feel that we need to keep storing food for an emergency, and we don't know what that emergency is going to be. It could be a weather related thing. It could be an EMT or something like that, hey, I never thought there'd be a pandemic. I never thought that I'd live to see the day that I was told to stay home. I was home for 2 months. I worked from home. I never thought that I'd live to see that day. And we did live to see that day. And thank goodness that my husband and I were pretty prepared. I mean, we realized even we weren't as prepared as we should be. So if you want to start doing something, the easiest thing to do is get rice and beans. Just get them. I'm going to show you how to make them to the point where you're going to enjoy them. But I know that if you're like me, and if you have a background like me, I mean, just the thought of rice and beans, and for years people would say, store your rice and beans. And that was just disgusting to me, because I really didn't know what to do with them. Well, now I know what to do with them. And there's such a wide variety of dried beans. So when I say beans, I'm talking about dried beans. And I do have my favorites. I mean, red beans and rice are really good. I like that. Pinto beans, I think, are our favorite, really. I like black beans. I mean, there's different ways that you can prepare rice and beans, but you need to have a supply on hand. And I am going to show you how to dry can these kinds of things so that they stay for a long time. You don't have to worry so much about the beans, but you do, but not as much maybe as the rice, because you want to make sure that there aren't any bugs or things that could get into the food. And so stick with me. I'm going to show you what to do with those things. But right now, the very first thing you can do the next time you go to the store is pick up a big bag of rice and pick up some beans, and keep watching, because I'm going to show you how to store those things. I'm going to show you how to cook those things. And I just yesterday got my website up, and there will probably be a lot of recipes and things like that on my website along with my videos. So my website is urbanpreppingwithpam.com. Easy to remember. Urban Prepping with Pam is the video series. Urbanpreppingwithpam.com is my website. And I will be giving all the videos that I have. I will put those up there, a link to them with the recipe. And then there will be recipes available. And I'm going to start concentrating on beans and rice, because I know there are many of you out there just like me that it's the elephant in the room. It's the one thing nobody is talking about. They're all saying you have to have rice and beans, get a supply of rice and beans. And there's a whole lot of you I know that are out there saying, ew, that sounds really disgusting. It's not. It's now a food that we enjoy all the time. And I'm going to show you how you can enjoy them all the time too. So thank you for joining me. Do me a favor and hit subscribe and click that the bell right down below, so that you'll be notified when a new video comes up. I do a number of videos a week, and you're not going to want to miss it. And visit my website, Urban Prepping with Pam. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.